Welcome to Hungarian Horizon, a podcast about Hungary, its people, and their stories. My name is Balázs Frei.
And I'm Bálint.
Here with us today is Dr. Dóra Drexler, co-founder and director of the Research Institute of Organic Agriculture, the only research institute in Hungary that specializes in organic agriculture, established in 2011 with the aim of promoting organic agriculture in Hungary. The Institute has recently been nominated for the Highlights of Hungary Award for its work with Hungarian Landrace tomato varieties. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, it's a pleasure.
So I understand you received your PhD from Munich Technical University. What led you to make the decision to come back to Hungary?
Somehow, I don't know why, but it was never a question if I would return or not. We lived with my family when I was small, also abroad. We lived in the US, in New York City, due to a scholarship of my mom. And at that point also, it was never kind of a question that we will come back home, although it was in the 80s. It's a funny situation because when I was already grown up, sometime my mom said, like, we were waiting with your dad for so many years. When would you ask why we didn't stay abroad? And somehow you never asked. So that's, I don't know why. That was so natural that, Hungary is our home and we come back. And that's how it happened also after the PhD.
Can you walk us through the founding of the Research Institute?
It was a nice constellation because a foundation called Pancivis Foundation decided to fund a project in Hungary for organic research. And they asked the Swiss Research Institute of Organic Agriculture to mentor this or supervise this project. And that's how the job announcement was made through FIBU Switzerland, so the Research Institute of Organic Agriculture in Switzerland. And that's how it all began. And we went out together with one of my colleagues for half a year to Frick, which is between Basel and Zurich, to learn, basically learning by doing what's going on in this field of research, and to plan how we want to commence the project in Budapest, in Hungary. And that's the way it all started. And then in 2011, as you mentioned, the ÖMKI, the Hungarian Research Institute of Organic Agriculture, was founded.
Why should we go organic?
Yeah, it's a good question because a lot of mainstream agricultural institutions, companies ask the same thing. Everybody now is already aware of climate change, biodiversity loss of soil, and I could I could go on with listing the global challenges of food security and so on. And organic was always, from the beginning, a system that aimed to reach sustainability and aimed to close the cycles, nutrient cycles, as much as possible, and provide healthy food through nature conservation methods, so to say, so without destroying our natural resources, simply put. And it becomes more and more important in our days, and that's why I think it gains momentum.
And your work on Hungarian Landrace tomato varieties is widely regarded as a huge success. What are Hungarian Landrace tomato varieties and why are they important?
Yeah, Landraces or heirloom varieties, they have different names. They come from a time before the professional work of breeders. So nowadays, breeding is a specialized profession. And if we take tomatoes, usually hybrids are bred, which means that it's a genetically very uniform seed, basically, which is used, and you cannot propagate it again yourself. These heirloom or landrace varieties, they come from a time when people saved their own seed, and they selected what was best for their garden or their region, based on their own preferences and the environmental selection processes. So it's landrace is the result of both, basically, a natural selection and the selection of the grower. And these land races are not uniform. So genetically, they're also diverse, and also in their form, their taste, their color, they're very unique. In 2012, we thought that it would be really nice to get back to this diversity, and we asked for a selection of tomato land races from the gene bank to test them, to cultivate them with our partners, with our on-farm network, which are basically organic growers around the country, just to see if they are suitable today, if they can be grown organic, and what people say, how they accept this diversity in contrast to, the tomato which you can get in the supermarket. We have a lot of potential to do things better or change things, especially in the agricultural cultivation systems. And later on, when we had our results and identified about 6 land races which we thought were really doing well under current circumstances, we introduced them through an adoption campaign. And that was when first broader public could access them again as seedlings. And then we have the luck that one of the big retail chains was very dedicated to the topic, and this will be the 3rd year they are distributing the seedlings all over Hungary. It's a 1 weekend sale of seedlings throughout the country. In Budapest, we also have takeaway points.
Why is it so significant to maintain this biodiversity?
If you put it simply, biodiversity is our insurance. So if something happens, if something goes wrong, if the circumstances change, then we humans as well, but also plants and our food and animals, we can adapt due to this diversity. So there's a famous story when in Manchester, during the industrialization of the city, these spotted moths who were white and black spots were on it because they wanted to hide themselves on the bark of trees. And in a couple of years, because everything became dark due to the pollution, the flies became also black with small white spots, because only that 10%, which was actually always caught by birds before, because they stood out from the crowd, so to say, who survived, wouldn't have been this diversity, which for one may seem, why are there black flies when every bark is white? But then something changes and you realize that the survival depended on this diversity. So that's how it is also in agriculture.
And how much emphasis does Hungary as a nation place on biodiversity as an issue compared to other European states?
I think that we have the advantage that if you compare with Western European countries where very intensive agriculture has developed, you can see a much higher biodiversity in the Hungarian landscapes. A lot of botanist colleagues reassured me about this, that we still have a kind of natural advantage in this respect, but the tendency is unfortunately not so positive.
And what are the other projects are you working on currently?
Oh, we are also working with land races of ancient cereals. They are called emmer and einkorn. They were the ones which were cultivated, kind of the first human cultivated grains, basically. And they are also really interesting because of the nutritional properties and also because of their resilience to climate change.
Good luck with all of your endeavors, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
It was great to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.